So, you want to hear a story, huh? One about treasure hunters. Have I got a story for you, Pandora?
Wrong story. The story I'm about to tell you is not about treasure hunters. Instead, about a man who thought 100% Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel was a good idea. So I started my journey by getting off the bus at Firestone. Yeah, no, I'm joking. If you wanted to watch someone get all the trophies, you wouldn't be here watching me. Most of the trophies in the game you can get by playing the base game. Discovering all the locations is pretty simple because you have to go to all the locations if you do all the side quests. Killing all the bosses is a requirement to even beat the game. If you collect weapons and sell weapons, well, you'll sell 50 weapons by the time you get to the end of the game, and having over $1 million was pretty simple, as I ended the game with more than the number can count in the game. Weapon proficiency you get by killing bosses, and I learned that the Archive gives a ton of weapon proficiency to any weapon. If you start with level 1 and you kill a Archive the first time you meet it, it will level up the gun about 5 times. Pretty simple to level up the proficiency in most weapons. Elemental kills, well, you'll probably get a bunch of those throughout the game, especially if you use a bunch of elemental weapons and you don't like dealing direct damage to enemies. Action skills were a little bit more difficult to get, as I had to start up a game every single time and play through the cutscene and beat the first 3 levels of the game just to activate the skill tree once. And then you're on a boat, pretty simple, just had to learn how to get there. And then the multiplayer tasks, pretty easy because I have a ton of friends. I definitely did not just hook up 2 extra controllers and just load up 2 characters. Anyways, all these simple trophies in the game, besides the racetrack one, pretty easy to get in the base game. Not that hard to get. Straightforward. I wish that was true with the rest of the DLCs for Borderlands 1. Starting with Brains. Probably one of the most tedious and time-consuming quests in the game, trophy-wise. It requires you to collect a bunch of brains by doing headshots on zombies. That took ages to do, but not the worst of them all. Definitely not the worst of the trophies in this challenge. Leveling up to 51 and level 61. Pretty annoying, not hard, but time-consuming at that. Cormorax. Took a while to learn how to kill that thing. That thing, really annoying, especially when you use any cheese tactics on it, because there's one spot on it where you get to shoot and it's behind it. So most cheese locations, you can't really deal damage to that one spot, and Cormorax basically one-shots you no matter what. So, a little bit more difficult to deal with. Now this is where the trophies get annoying. Claptrap's Revolution. I spent a few hours grinding the final boss, the Manic, trying to get every single collectible. Hours. Got ran over a few times because its movement is weird and finicky. And that brings us to the final trophy I got, or the final series of trophies I got, which is the Moxxi's Thunderdome. This was painful. Each of these challenges, each of the Coliseum challenges, took around 3-4 hours to beat, if I got lucky. Most times I died and had to repeat rounds more than once, because of some stupid RNG such as no shield plus vampire plus close quarter expert, which means I can't do any long distance attacks, which means I have to get close and personal without shield, which means I die and there's not much I can do. And after like 10 to 12 hours of separate days playing each Coliseum, because I was not about to do 3 Coliseums back to back to back, I finally got the final trophy of Borderlands. Well, besides the speedway because I wanted to get the platinum trophy alongside the final trophy of the game. So, with that final challenge being done, I got all the trophies on Borderlands 1. This brings me to Borderlands 2, which I had previously collected some of the trophies before I started playing a week ago, so some of them were not as difficult to deal with, but I still remember some of the more challenging trophies to get. Again, Borderlands 2, the side missions, bosses, about the same. The 5 rounds in a arena, pretty simple to deal with. All locations found, tipping Moxie, not difficult at all. Playing through the game, you'll probably equipped all purple gear or better in the game, so that was pretty simple as well. Abilities, again, you just had to restart the game. Luckily, I did this after the Fight for Sanctuary came out, so instead of having to play as a character, which would take forever since one of them requires you to be in Gunzerker mode for over 90 seconds, which would take a while to get to in the skill tree, I got to just start off at level 30 and then do all the challenges from there. Meaning that achievement, which would have taken a while, became nullified because of that. Terramorphous was an annoying fight to deal with because of the edge that would just launch you into oblivion. And in multiplayer, I played with my brother at the time, so most of those were pretty simple to deal with. Killing a constructor before it builds robots, easy as well, because, well, when you just go back onto an easier difficulty, you can just kill a constructor. And now there's complete all of 1 challenges. This one was annoying to deal with, not because they were difficult, and also a little more difficult because I decided I wasn't going to read all the way and decided I had to collect every single fault symbol in the map, which, looking back at it now, I didn't have to. But the one challenge was slag enemies. And this one would be simple, you would think. Except for I somehow dealt so much slag damage that my counter went negative. So I had about 2.5 negative points of slag damage. That took ages to finally get back into the positives, but eventually I did it, and that was the last challenge. And then for all the other side missions, well, some of these side missions DLC sucked, but they were not as bad as the first game's DLCs. The death race in the crater, terrible. Took me ages to figure out how to beat round 3. And then, in the Hamlock's Hunt, I like my monsters rare. I think that's what it was called. That took ages to deal with because of the fact that all those enemies did not want to spawn. And I had an especially hard time finding slag spores, which everyone said was the easiest to find, but I found everything else before I found the slag spores. So, that was rough. And that was all the challenging trophies I could remember about Borderlands 2. And with all those done, Borderlands the pre-sequel. Again, missions, bosses, pretty easy. Locations, everything was found pretty simply. Sub-level 13 with 3 other players. I definitely had friends help me with this, definitely. And then the abilities were slightly more annoying to deal with since for the Hunter, you needed to kill 6 enemies in a few seconds, or in 1 activation. I eventually was able to do that once I hit level 10. For Athena, that took a little bit longer because it was just a constant grind to kill 100 enemies, so I just kept reloading an area over and over and over again until I got all the kills I needed. The one annoying character is Claptrap, because to do Claptrap you need to reach level 25. And Claptrap's abilities, alongside the brokenness of the AIs in this game, made Claptrap's activation skill a little bit difficult. So dealing with enemies was a little difficult. Eventually I did find a weapon called the Unicorn something. I forgot the boom is a shotgun. The most overpowered shotgun in the game, in fact, that it enabled me to get the trophy or the achievement I thought was going to be the most difficult to get before I even got to level 25 as Claptrap, which is apply all elemental effects onto one enemy. Because that shotgun has the ability to shoot every single element out of it at once. 10 moon chests, annoying because I had to grind a boss over and over and over again until I got 400 moonstones. And then Challenger. Luckily, I was able to find a way to get to 100 or moon grind for free. So I was able to get Moonshine weapons pretty easily. Just took a while because Moonshine is a chance-based thing, and it requires you to get 20 of them. After that, it was all a matter of killing enemies with certain weapons. Most annoying one was kill 700 and something enemies in close quarter in point blank range with a shotgun. That was annoying, just so I could get or open up a hidden challenge, which allowed me to kill enemies from longer range with a shotgun, which I had already done a ton of those. So, a waste of time. Alongside with the rocket launcher, we had to get about 200 something kills with the area effect, the splash damage of the rocket launcher, just to find out that I already did the direct hits with the rocket launcher. Those were the most time consuming, as I had to go around just killing tons and tons and tons of enemies for hours. After this, I finally went back to the moon grinder, where I did 50 regular grinds, and I got that trophy. With that, all of the challenges and all the trophies were done in the game, and I got platinum on all 3 of those games. Borderlands 3 I will eventually do after a break. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this storytelling time of me hating every bit of my life. If I had to rate these games from my most favorite games you trophy hunt to the least favorite, first favorite would probably have to be the second game, because it was just felt like it was a little easier to deal with besides the infinite slag. Borderlands pre-sequel would be first if it wasn't for the fact that Five Sanctuary came out while I was 100%ing Borderlands 2 trophies. Had I done that prior, pre-sequel probably would have taken the cake on first place, because pre-sequel was easier to deal with. They didn't require to level up every character beyond max, and overall just it was a fun game to play. Borderlands 1, in terms of its base game trophies are on top, number 1. Because it doesn't require you to do anything extra, it doesn't require you to do anything special. But it's because of the Moxie DLC. The Moxie DLC was the one that ruined it. Even if they took out the Moxie DLC, Borderlands 1 would be number 1 game to trophy hunt. But because it took 12 hours of just sitting in an arena, killing enemies over and over and over again, praying to whatever that you get good luck, made the game almost unbearable and made me want to not play the game anymore. So, the list is Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, and 1. Maybe eventually I'll add Borderlands 3 to the list, but I feel like Borderlands 3 may be a little bit more annoying. But looking at the trophies, it doesn't require me to do Challenger, which is awesome. And just basically a lot of trophies require you to actually just play the game normally. Anyways, this ends the story of the misery that is getting all the trophies in Borderlands. And I will continue with normal gameplay next week.